It doesn't.
You don't know what hard times are, Daddy. Hard times are when the textile workers around this country are out of work. They got 4 or 5 kids and can't pay their wages, can't buy their food. Hard times are when the auto workers are out of work and they tell them go home. And hard times are when a man has worked at a job 30 years. 30 years. They give him a watch, kick him in the butt, and say, hey, a computer took your place, Daddy. That's hard time. That's hard time.
Hard times weigh heavy on the shoulders of NXT General Manager William Regal following last night's main event, as a #1 contender to Finn Balor's NXT Championship still remains undefined. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. It's Thursday once again, and you are listening to the officially unofficial 5-star NXT post-show and SmackDown pre-show. This is WWEC Radio. I'm Tommy Sharp alongside Graham GSM Matthews and special guest JR. Scratch that, reverse it, our friend RJ joins us today, and there is so much to discuss this week as the road to WrestleMania leads us straight into WWE Fastlane. Live this Sunday only on the WWE Network. Graham, a pleasure as always, but before we get into NXT and last night's main event between Samoa Joe and Sami Zayn, why don't you take us back to last Thursday on SmackDown? Let's talk some Jericho and AJ Styles.
I thought it was a great show. I mean, we talk about it every single week. Third week here on WWE ECR Radio. And SmackDown delivering, as always, with a great main event between Chris Jericho and AJ Styles. Watched it twice. I watched it earlier on in the day, right after we recorded the show. Then I watched it again with RJ on Thursday night, just because it was a great match. The whole show was great. We had another really good match between Naomi and Sasha Banks. Dudley Boyz coming out, but headlined by Jericho and Styles in the main event. Part 2, coming off of their first encounter the night after the Royal Rumble. And an even better match than the first time around, which I thought was impossible. The first match was good. This match was even better. Great psychology. Both guys doing whatever they need to do to come out on top and solidify themselves as the superior athlete. And in the end, it was Chris Jericho who pulled out the victory clean. 1, 2, 3, code breaker, evening the odds, evening the score. The third match is we're going to find out. We don't know yet. We're going to find out tonight on SmackDown, so I'm looking forward to it.
Well, and for me, I feel like we're looking at Lionheart Chris Jericho, not necessarily Y2J getting the win over AJ Styles here. I mean, he is pulling out some deep cuts from his repertoire to really come after AJ in the hardest way that he can, in the most sincere way that he can, and that dives right into his Lionheart. So I think that that's awesome to see. You know, the Lion Tamer back in circulation. You know, he's had these very focused bouts, very critical opinions of AJ Styles coming into what he feels is the big time. So I'm curious to see if we see them at Fastlane, who's going to actually come out on top here.
This is not the Jericho that we've been seeing for a while now. Not the Jericho with the funny dad jokes or the unfunny dad jokes, depending on how you look at it. Not the Jericho that's coming out with the light bright jacket. The Jericho that's coming out to get the job done and beat AJ Styles, which he did clean 1, 2, 3 last week on SmackDown. So I'm looking forward to seeing where the feud goes from here. Tonight on SmackDown should be a great match to a great feud. But RJ might as well be JR Marceau joining the show here today. What were your thoughts? We watched a show last week together. I thought it was a great show. Like I said, a great women's match, a really good... We had another good match, too. We had the Dudley Boyz, that match. We had something else I forgot about, but the main event was great. What were your thoughts on Jericho Styles Part 2 last week on SmackDown?
Yeah, I thought Jericho and Styles Part 2 was even better than the first one. And then, did you see the reports that they said like there was kind of a little botch at the end that when AJ went for the flying forearm, Jericho tripped, so it used with him the co-breaker then. But they kind of like improvised and they finished clean. But you wouldn't even know because like the chemistry they had after that, like the whole match was great. But then at the ending, like they kind of like covered it up and you wouldn't notice if someone just didn't come out with the report. But like you said, it was a great match, better than the first one I thought. And then as we'll see tonight on SmackDown, we'll see if they get another match at Fastlane possibly and maybe at WrestleMania.
Well, that maybe is what it comes down to at Fastlane. Maybe a missed hit somewhere along the way leads to a clean win for Jericho, because I gotta say, if AJ isn't perfectly phenomenal, Jericho could take that easily.
Easily. These guys are both very even-leveled, both very, very much skilled. Jericho coming in, or rather Styles coming into the company, with something to prove. We already know what he's capable of over in Japan, over in Ring of Honor, and that company down in Florida and Universal Studios. He's coming into WWE as a redneck rookie. According to Chris Jericho and WWE, that's what they're calling him. Think of that, judge that as you will. But he's got something to prove. He did that his first night in with a win over Chris Jericho on Monday Night Raw. Great performance in the Rumble. A win over Curtis Axel. 2 wins over The Miz. 2 very good matches that I forgot to mention. Another match this past week on Raw. They got another match coming up on Sunday, hopefully, depending on what Jericho says to the challenge tonight on SmackDown. So not only do we have Brock Lesnar on SmackDown tonight, we got Chris Jericho responding to the third and hopefully, not even final, hopefully the next chapter, I should say, in the ongoing angle between Chris Jericho and AJ Styles.
Well, speaking a little bit about Curtis Axel right there, you have the Social Outcasts, or as Adam Rose called them, the Social House Cats, which I definitely prefer at this point. You had them come out and interrupt what was building to be an interesting opener for SmackDown last week. And what are your thoughts about Social Outcasts kind of just coming and disrupting whatever they see fit?
Simply said, I love the Social Outcast. RJ can attest this. We watch Raw together every single Monday night in the Marceau dorm. And the 2 parts that I got the most excited for on Monday nights Raw, I know this is a SmackDown kind of review thing, but just kind of touching upon Raw. The 2 things I got excited for on Monday, KO winning the IC title, and the Social Outcast. I didn't even care about the match between Heath Lee Baby and Zack Ryder. I thought the Social Outcasts themselves are just awesome. And I don't know why. I mean, we talked about it yesterday, Tom, off the air, off the record, and just in regards to how these guys come out, they don't really seem like they have a script. They just go out there and just have fun, a lot like the New Day. They got to kind of prevent themselves from kind of talking over each other and whatnot. Other than that, they're golden. I don't really see them getting anywhere in the company. They're not future world champions. Maybe a nice little fun feud to the New Day at some point. But what we saw last week on SmackDown with Jericho and Styles was a great setup for the main event. That's what I forgot to mention. That's what happened on SmackDown last week.
That's right.
Coming out, interrupting the match between Jericho and Styles, proving that Jericho and Styles, while they don't like each other, respect each other and can work together as a cohesive unit. And they did that. Had a fun little outing, emerged victorious with Jericho. No, I think it was Styles. Styles hit the flying forearm, picked up the victory. Jericho laying him out, getting the last laugh going into the main event
off of
by
a sneak
knocking
tag.
Out. Exactly. The proverbial, the traditional not the hot tag, the blind tag.
Blind
that
tag.
He picked up, scored the win. They got the win nevertheless, but it's both guys coming down one-on-one in the main event. And at the end of the day, it's every man for themselves.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of being a little blindsided last Thursday, Dudley's definitely going in a new direction, really turning their back on some of their own staples and traditions. And I'm interested to see where Bubba and Devon are going to take this.
I'm looking forward to it. I've always been a long-time fan of the Dudley Boyz, or at least since they came back to the company. I thought they had a very hot return in Brooklyn last summer, and then they kind of cooled off in the feud of the New Day. I thought it was a decent feud. They're back to put people over. They lost the New Day. They lost the Wyatt family at TLC. They lost the Social Outcasts at one point on Main Event of all places. But going heel, I feel like, was the right move. It was very much needed. And if anything else, not only for them, but specifically, more in general, rather, for the tag team division. We have the New Day. We got the Usos, who are kind of feeling a little stale. We talked about it a couple weeks ago, what they need to kind of switch up in their characters. They're great wrestlers. They're great athletes, but I don't care about the Usos winning the tag team titles again. We have no reason to kind of get behind them as challengers. Whereas with the Dudley Boyz, even though they're heels, their motives are clear. They want to become 10-time tag team champions, titles they have not won in over a decade since they came back to the company back in August. They are setting out to win those tag team titles.
I mean, we're not talking about some creep with a beer can and a kendo stick. We're not talking about thumbtacks. We're not talking about ECW anymore. We are talking about the Dudley Boyz declaring their contention for being the champions, for being on top of the mountain. Not a has-been act, not a nostalgia act, the act in WWE right now. RJ, what do you think about that?
I think it's good for the Dudley Boyz to go heel. I think, like Graham said, the tag team division's been kind of stagnant lately, and with the Usos, they've been there. The main event scene for the last couple of years, and the New Day, they're not getting tired, but like people are kind of like, it's the same thing they've been doing since the summer, so people kind of like want that new, fresh blood in the tag team division. So the Dudley Boyz going heel, like I said, kind of like going away from tables, going away from like happy-go-lucky. They're coming for a goal. They want to win those tag team titles, and it's just something new for the tag team division that we haven't seen since Lucha Dragons broke up pretty much. The Matadors are doing whatever they're doing. The Ascension have never got over, so they only really have 3 tag teams right now, so they need to make those teams interesting so the fans want to get into the tag team division.
Absolutely. So, a lot of things coming out of SmackDown going into Monday this week, and as we lead up to our NXT post-show kind of review, let's just take a quick side here, talk a little bit about, you mentioned this briefly, but we should dive into it just a little bit. Kevin Owens, Intercontinental Champion.
Didn't see that one coming at all.
Well, you got a great matchup. You got Ambrose in the ring, bringing the belt to the match. You got Stardust, absolutely unknown, can come out of nowhere and hit moves very quickly in a five-way dance. That's pretty dangerous. Tyler Breeze also, and Dolph Ziggler. So a lot of interesting feuds going into that just one bout. A lot of bad blood between all of them. What do you guys think?
A lot of bad blood between all 5 competitors, and something unprecedented too. That's one of the biggest criticisms right now of WWE, specifically Raw. Very formulaic. We see this, an authority promo, this, that, and whatever. Very paint by numbers. But Monday night was anything but. Out comes the Intercontinental Champion Dean Ambrose, calls out Brock Lesnar, instead gets Stephanie McMahon, who puts him in a 5-way match for his championship, in a very well-wrestled match, by the way. Probably the best match I've seen all week, including NXT, Lucha, whatever. Really, really good match between all 5 guys. Great chemistry. In the end, and we were talking about this too, RJ, when the match was first announced, JBL goes, there's no way that he's going to be able to beat 4 other guys. And I'm thinking, that means he's going to win. That's usually the formula for meaning, he's going to come out on top. He's going to pin Stardust or something, or, Tyler Breeze. But in the end, good night, sweet Prince Pretty. 1, 2, 3 with the pop-up powerbomb on Prince Pretty. Tyler Breeze, new Intercontinental Champion, 2-time IC champion is Kevin Owens. I think it's a great move. And not only for Kevin Owens, and I don't really mean to, slight Owens' victory, but more importantly, it adds more interest to the Fastlane main event on Sunday. Now, Ambrose, more than ever, and there was kind of a doubt before, knowing that it was in his home state, and he's been more of a threat recently, more of a prominent figure on Monday Night Raw as of late. But as of Monday night, is no longer the Intercontinental Champion, has as big of a chance as ever to win Sunday's main event.
Hungry. Absolutely hungry, rabid, going at nothing else to lose now. You don't have to protect anything going into a match like that. He lost the United States belt in a similar fashion. Used to this kind of, being put in these situations by the authority. I think this gives Ambrose the edge going into Fastlane. It has to. Reigns has everything to gain. Ambrose has nothing to lose, and I think that's a totally different mindset for the two of them.
And all 3 guys have legitimate claims to win the main event on Sunday. Brock Lesnar has yet to get his rightful rematch for the championship. Kind of putting that title match with Seth Rollins at Battleground aside, ended in no contest. He's hungry for the gold. Roman Reigns lost the championship at the Rumble. Should have gotten an automatic rematch, but the authorities in charge, they denied that. And Ambrose is kind of the wild factor here, the wild card. He's kind of the fan favorite to win it all, because he hasn't been in the title picture all that much. He faced Reigns in the main event of Survivor Series in a decent match, but other than that, he really hasn't been that prominently featured in the title picture. So I'm thinking going into Sunday, people are really rallying behind him. But also, like I said, I don't want to slight Owens' victory. I thought it was a big win for Kevin Owens, not only making the main event on Sunday more interesting, but I think even for Kevin Owens, kind of getting his WrestleMania direction back on track. And even you, RJ, I know you're a big KO fan. So what were your thoughts on Kevin Owens becoming a 2-time Intercontinental Champion on Monday? What do you think this does for him going into his title defense on Sunday with Dolph Ziggler? Because we already kind of knew that match was happening at the pay-per-view. But now it's for the Intercontinental Championship. The ending outcome is kind of, not really much in doubt, but still it should be a good match. But I think what is in doubt is his WrestleMania direction. Where do you see KO going from here?
I think, like I said, I think now looking back, I think like you said, we were talking about off the record, but like him losing the title first was good for Ambrose, kind of like get his momentum up, but then like Kevin Owens never did anything, so kind of like didn't diminish him, but like it didn't do anything for him to lose the title. It's not like he was going on to face Lesnar or Undertaker like they were rumoring to say, but I think him getting the title now like gets his direction for WrestleMania up. He'll probably be in a prominent one-on-one match, hopefully at WrestleMania, not being like a 5-man ladder match or the Andre Giant Memorial. But going into Sunday, now it seems like Dolph Ziggler is kind of like a credible opponent since he beat Owens twice on Raw. So I think Owens has to win on Sunday. Can't have him win the title on Monday, take it off like they did to Kalisto kind of.
Well, I mean, Ambrose is unavailable. Yeah. Owens clearly has Breeze's number all day long. Dolph Ziggler and Stardust. Stardust probably went back to the 5th dimension, so he's good for now.
AKA superstars.
I would imagine that Ziggler has got to be the next focal point, because if you talk about a standard bearer of someone that you have to beat, time and again to prove that you are still the best Intercontinental Champion today, I think you got to prove that through Ziggler. You know, much like John Cena used to say that, you know, the road to the championship runs through me. I think Dolph Ziggler embodies right now the Intercontinental Champion standard. You know, even when he's not Intercontinental Champion, you know, I see him setting the tone. And Kevin Owens is going to have a hell of a battle if he goes up against Ziggler. Speed, not on Kevin Owens' side, but brute strength and surprise attacks, absolutely. And those are the things that catch Ziggler off guard every time.
And Dolph Ziggler is the one to beat. I think he's at that point where he is the man. He's not really the man, but a win over him is worth something. I don't think he's getting to the next level. I don't really see him becoming world champion at any point in the near future, especially after they kind of dropped the ball on his momentum after Survivor Series 2014. Fast forward 15, 16 months, and he's kind of back where he was before. So by no means do I want to see him back as Intercontinental Champion, but I absolutely feel like this feud, and before Monday, I mean, they were just kind of trading wins for the sake of trading wins. Owens won, Ziggler wins, which is all fine and dandy. But I think, unlike a lot of the other feuds that we have right now going on in WWE, there was no aftermath. There was nothing on the line, not like, oh, if I win, or not a best-of-5 series, where if I win, I get the championship or a championship shot or whatever. It was just two guys trading wins, and Owens getting frustrated afterwards, which is always entertaining, you know, calling out Byron Saxton on commentary and whatever on SmackDown and attacking people, but it's not like after the matches that he lost against Ziggler, he didn't cut a promo saying, you know, I need to avenge myself, I need to, I know he's a heel, but regardless, there really wasn't any context there, just random matches. And again, you know, RJ and I talked this a little bit on Wrestle Rant Radio this past week. I'm not sure if this was the plan all along. I imagine it's been the plan long enough for these matches to make sense. Otherwise, why would you have Ziggler win back-to-back weeks? But he's no schlump. I mean, he's no Zack Ryder, who I love to death, by the way, but Zack Ryder is a glorified enhancement of talent. And Ziggler is not getting above a certain level, but he's still at that level where a win over him means something. And more importantly, Owens needs to solidify himself as a star on the rise. And before he can get to WrestleMania, he needs to get through that roadblock, Dolph Ziggler, on Sunday by beating him to retain his IC championship.
Yeah, and, you know, continuing talking about championship pictures, I want to talk a little bit about the Divas Championship picture right now. Specifically, you know, a little bit away from the belt. I know we have Charlotte and Brie Bella kind of in contention right now, but Naomi's been making some waves in the last couple of weeks. I want to hear what you guys have to think about Naomi right now.
I think with Naomi, I think she's kind of like, I think last April and May was her shot to win. I feel like, I know she's very good in the ring. I really like Naomi, but I think the focus right now is on Sasha and Becky, and they're going to kind of like put Naomi on the side burner right now, because when we were talking about this last year, we thought Naomi was just shooing to win at Extreme Rules and Payback. Like, we thought like Naomi's finally going to get there, turn heel, she's going to win the title from Nikki Bella, she's going to have good reign, and then just never win anywhere, and then with the Team Bad and all the faction wars. But Naomi's great, but she's kind of like lost in the shuffle that the younger talent are kind of going over. It's kind of like, I'm trying to think. It's like NXT. It's kind of like Tyler Breeze. Like, he's about to get to that level, he's gonna win, and then like
there's always a bigger priority. Yeah.
And Baron Corbin comes, and like these people take his spotlight.
Yeah.
So it's kind of feel like she's at that level that she could be there, but like there's younger talent they're gonna put over her.
She's perennially been in that spot, and you know what? It's only gonna make her more vicious in the ring, because if she can't win titles, maybe she starts taking out people and hurting people that have titles, and maybe that's good enough for her, and she'll find some validation in that. So I think she is looking the strongest out of the entire women's division in WWE right now at the main roster level. She is just a force to be reckoned with, and as good as Charlotte is, she doesn't have the experience Naomi does. She doesn't have the explosiveness that Naomi does, and she does not, as bad as Charlotte is in her core, being a Flair, she does not have that down and out kind of fury that Naomi's been bringing to her matches against Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch. So it'll be interesting to see how Fastlane shapes up in that regard.
There's just so much talent right now in the Divas division, not only in WWE, but in NXT as well. And we talked about that last week with Carmella up in the ranks and Alexa Bliss, who's improved immensely. You know, Eva Maria's getting better. Nia Jax is kind of there too. Bayley, you know, enough said. But I mean, there's so many women down in NXT that are ready to come up, or maybe coming up the next couple months. It might push back Naomi even more. Like, she's a great talent in the ring, and like you said, RJ, we were every single week, Extreme Rules, oh, she's going to win the belt. Payback, okay, maybe this time. Elimination Chamber, oh no, this is going to be the pay-per-view. And she didn't win any single time. She always lost. But at the same time, as much as it is WWE's quote-unquote fault to give her an opportunity and kind of having her overshadowed by the likes of Charlotte and Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks, she herself was in desperate need of a breakout performance. And I feel like last week on SmackDown was that performance. That match against Sasha Banks was probably the best women's match I've seen on SmackDown in a long, long time. Other than, I know Charlotte and Becky had a great Divas title match at the start of the year on SmackDown right after they moved to USA. That match was awesome. We have never seen Sasha and Naomi one-on-one before. The aggression was just great. And one of my biggest pet peeves with wrestling nowadays is that you have these two, ruthless rivals, and they start out the match on a lockup. It's just the simplest biggest flaw that a match can have. And they didn't have that. These two women have so much history together, Sasha Banks and Naomi, dating back to last summer. As soon as the bell rang, they went right after each other. Ruthless aggression. Sasha Banks picked up the victory, but not after a hard-fought bout. That was incredible. And I thought that was the match. And I looked at Naomi differently more than I have in the past year, thinking, this girl should be and could be a future Divas champion once all these other women, such as Charlotte and Becky and Sasha, get their turn. If she can wait around long enough and she can hold out hope, it's not like a Wade Barrett case where his time is come and gone. Naomi's time is still to come.
Well, I absolutely agree, and we should keep rolling this into the women's division at NXT right now, because last night on NXT we saw not only Asuka compete, but we got some new perspective from Nia Jax and Eva Marie, forming kind of an unlikely alliance, but definitely, blending well together against Bayley and Carmella going into next week. So maybe we'll just kick things off and start talking a little bit about Deonna Purrazzo and the Empress of Tomorrow, Asuka, because, man, that was a quick match. Not that I expected it to be any less, but, I mean, what do you guys think? How do you feel about Asuka right now?
Asuka, just she's great. She just kind of has that vibe that you're like, she's gonna go in there, she's gonna kick ass, and she's gonna leave, and she does that every time. She put on a great match with Emma. She put on a great match with Dana Brooke, and the match last night was good. She was facing an enhancement talent in Deonna Purrazzo, and she just gave it to her. She gave her all she could have. Hit her with a couple spinning back fists were great. Hit her with the spinning heel kick or whatever it is. Ended her, and I just think she just goes in there, has a purpose. She's great in the ring. She's stiff and she hits hard, and it's just like, you don't want to go in there and mess with Asuka. It's not like you're going to go in there with Carmella or Alexa Bliss. They're not as fierce. Asuka's going to hit you where it hurts, and she's going to bring the fight to you.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of quick things right there. First of all, Deonna, we're going to mispronounce your name quite a bit. And here's why. Because you don't quite matter yet, okay? You don't quite match up against the competition of Asuka in front of you. I mean, when Asuka comes out, unlike somebody like Bayley or Carmella, when Asuka smiles, you tremble in fear, okay? That's how it works. She comes out, she has the best robe in the business. She looks like royalty. You want to talk about an empress, she fits the bill, but then she takes all that, strips it down to just her ring gear, and she gets that crooked smile on her face. And my God, she is way too fast for anyone to compete with in that ring right now. And she can have you in a hold within seconds. And she proved that against Deonna by putting her in multiple holds faster than Deonna could even get a counter out. And she just, anytime Deonna had any kind of offense, which was barely existent, Asuka would just absorb these hits like a sponge, just like punching the Incredible Hulk. It's just making her mad. And she hit a devastating midsection kick to a leaping Deonna off, I think it was the second turnbuckle. And just, I swear I saw some of her lunch come out with that one. It was absolutely hilarious. And then followed up with spinning forearm after spinning forearm into a roundhouse. Literally no competition, no chance for Deonna in this one. And, all right. So, all that being said, obviously I'm a huge Asuka fan here. I out of any of the women, and I've thought about this, carefully, I feel like a match between, and this is total fantasy booking, a match between Asuka and Finn Balor would be entertaining as hell to see, because I don't know anybody that could step in the ring with Finn Balor and maybe make him feel a little uncomfortable.
I believe so. I believe the only chance of that happening is if both of them get released by I can't even say miracle, that would be a travesty, but if they somehow left WWE and headed to Lucha Underground, maybe that'd be possible.
Or if WWE actually wants to make some history.
That's possible. I mean, if there's anywhere that's going to happen, it's NXT. Triple H knows. I mean, I think that match would be just incredible. The Demon versus Asuka. And I know, Tommy, you have said in the past that Asuka is hands down your favorite wrestler, period. Not even women's wrestler, not in NXT, but just period, correct?
Top to bottom, my favorite wrestler today, Asuka.
She is just so much fun to watch. I'm not going to beat a dead horse, and I think she's just great. I think she speaks for herself. But I want to talk about Deonna a little bit. I know this is not the first time that we've seen her, and I think the best part about this entire thing, it was a nice little squash for Asuka. She's obviously steamrolling through the competition en route to the NXT Women's Championship. Hopefully will take place in Dallas in a little less than 2 months. But Deonna Purrazzo, I thought, has a great look. We didn't really see too much of her in the ring last night, on offense anyway. Asuka was kind of on offense for the most part. But we did get a pre-match promo from her, which is unprecedented for anyone that is not contracted, i.e. Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa. We rarely get to hear from those guys when they're not under contract. Now, whether she is contracted or not, I have no idea. But she did mention in the promo that she has faced Asuka before. This was her time to shine. This was her rematch. She came up short, but not before being interrupted by Emma and Dana Brooke, the resident mean girls of
Big
NXT.
surprise.
The new Team Bay, the new Team BFFs of NXT. They're a great duo. I've never been super high on Dana Brooke. She's come a long way, though, and she's a great pairing with Emma, who really isn't. I think they kind of know that she's already kind of hit her peak in NXT, and I think her time is on the main roster. Her place is on the main roster before long. But she's there right now to put over the stars, the women of tomorrow, including Asuka and Bayley and now Deonna Purrazzo. So Deonna Purrazzo was unsuccessful in her efforts of toppling Asuka on this show. But I think we have yet to see the last of not Asuka, rather, but Deonna Purrazzo in NXT.
She does not strike me as a person that's going to take getting knocked down a couple notches very lightly. I feel like she's going to go reinvent, continue to pour into the training, much like Apollo Crews just does not, take defeat lightly. He really pours into what his strengths were, where all of his weaknesses are, and maybe Deonna surprises everybody and ends around and gets a win over Asuka at some point, because clearly they have something building there.
I was thinking, could this be the night that Asuka gets beaten? Because I'm thinking, based off that pre-match promo, there might be a chance that she could upset Asuka. I know right now is not the right time with Asuka building momentum towards the NXT Women's Championship, but there's a chance that she could beat her.
You got Dana Brooke and you have Emma out there clearly acknowledging Deonna in the ring with Asuka, and if those two can't win, they're probably feeling a little threatened about somebody that they think might have a shot.
Exactly.
And if Deonna keeps getting put up against Asuka, at some point she's going to have to get tough. And I think that'll be very interesting to see all of them mixed up in that. And maybe we even see an unlikely pairing with Deonna and Asuka versus Dana Brooke and Emma. So
that's what I thought we were getting on NXT last night when Asuka came in with Deonna. I'm figuring, we're going to get a tag team match. And it was one-on-one, so it was like, because Deonna kind of came off like a babyface in that pre-match promo, which I'm sure the crowd didn't see, and they were just chanting, Asuka's going to kill you the whole time, logically enough. But maybe we will see that before long. I thought they were going to come out and attack him, kind of get because next week we're getting Baymella versus Nia Jax and Eva Marie, as you said before, RJ. And I'm looking forward to that. We have 2 separate stories right now in the NXT Women's Division, and that's like with 8 women. Like, that's incredible. And we're getting that in the main roster too, so not to slight the main roster. But I will say this before we move on. Bold prediction, Deonna Purrazzo, if she is signed or does get signed, she'll just be Deonna. Like Purrazzo, Purrazzi, whatever you want to call her. It just, I couldn't even type it out. Like, if you can't type the name when you're writing it down for like reviews and stuff, and if you have a hard time pronouncing it, it's usually not going to get over. Or like Purrazzo, I can't see people chanting that, so they'll just call her Deonna, i.e., Bayley, Carmella, whatever. They'll just call her Deonna. Hopefully, if she gets signed, and I think she should, because she definitely has potential and some upside.
Yes, yeah, looking forward to that. And yesterday, show kicked off with a very interesting 4-team tag match. We had Enzo and Cass versus American Alpha versus Blake and Murphy versus Dash and Dawson. Everybody coming out in interesting color-coordinated combination. You had black versus red basically out there, and everybody, it was a stellar 8-man ring action, just clearing the house at one point. You have Enzo and Cass and American Alpha just leveling Blake and Murphy and Dash and Dawson, kicking them out of the ring and just owning the squared circle right there. I thought it was incredible ring execution and team awareness throughout the whole thing. And talk about setting a tone. I mean, Enzo and Cass have just been high energy, full octane. And you know what? You take advantage of American Alpha's like tactics. You take advantage of their acumen and all of their conditioning, and that's what I think gets the win over not only the NXT Tag Champs, but also a very strong Blake and Murphy.
Their tag team division right now is so stacked. And before I go any further, I'll just say this much. Before you came in, Tommy, to record the show, I was shamelessly blasting the American Alpha theme song. They are just so great. No more than an hour ago, sitting at lunch in the Callahan shout out.
That is shameless.
Food over there. Well, I will say this much. They are an amazing tag team. I mean, RJ, I know you got an article in the works, G-Plug, for the American Alpha tag team coming up in the next couple days on nextwrestling.net, but these guys are just the total package. They got everything. They got mic skills and ring skills, the charisma, the presence, everything. And we were talking before we went on the air, it just boggles my mind they are not already selling those rally towels. And I'm thinking to myself, when I was at TakeOver in Brooklyn over the summer, I'm thinking, how are they not already selling these? And that was August. That was 6 months ago. They have to start selling these things before Dallas because these guys are on fire. Picked up the win last night with Enzo and Cass, an equally entertaining tag team. They're just... Every time they enter, I laugh. Not like, they're funny, but they just scream stars. These guys are just so great. And no more than an hour ago, sitting in the Callahan, RJ and I were saying, like, these guys are just incredible. Like, my favorite team, just my two favorite individuals, just in wrestling right now, up there with Pentagon Jr. and AJ Styles. These guys are just incredible. That's all I could say.
I mean, their presence in the last couple of weeks alone has changed my opinion of them. I think they went from collegiate technical wrestlers to true professional wrestlers in the last couple of weeks, and it has all of their combined talent and all of their studying and hard work is now paying off, and they are starting to really make an impact. And I'm curious, RJ, what do you feel about American Alpha right now?
They're the hottest thing right now in wrestling, I think, honestly. Since they came babyface and since they went to London, they've been the hottest thing in NXT. They picked up victories. That hot tag from Jason Jordan, I don't even know. I can't even describe how great it is. Comes in, hits the tag of Jason Jordan, just clears house, suplexes, the drop kicks, sets up for the suplex into the bridge. Oh my goodness, it's amazing. But they looked great last night with Enzo and Cass. He had that move and then Enzo hit the flying splash. But like you said, they took total control of the ring and they kind of I feel like they outperformed the tag team champions. They're not like they didn't have a bad showing, but they kind of took the spotlight away from them. But I think American Alpha has to be the next team in NXT.
Yeah, well, now I only want to spend a couple minutes, maybe a minute, talking about this. But let's quickly talk about the Perfect 10, Ty Dillinger coming out and squashing a very, eager-looking Alex Riley. Eager to make any kind of progress for himself, it feels like. So Riley's a babyface? What's going on?
All right, I'll say this much, okay? I'll start off by saying there is some bias here. I'm a big Alex Riley fan. I'm not saying...
That's fine, I quit.
I was expecting that. So I'm just going to say I'm not thinking he's a future WWE champion. I'm glad he's back. He's got the Triple H... He's got the Triple H 99 look going on for him. I'm not exactly sure what he's supposed to be.
Well, it's not exactly Triple H 99 because he is not soaking in water.
And he's also not exactly as talented either, so I'll say not much. He's missing two very key components.
Having watched King of the Ring 2000, I was just like, is there like a shower I can't see just raining on the... Like, he's like Eeyore, just a rain cloud always. Anyway, continue.
Anyway, I just want to say, well, now that you mentioned that, Corey Graves mentioned
anything to not talk about Alex Riley. I'm sorry, go.
Corey Graves mentioned that this guy hasn't taken a shower since the last time we saw him was pretty funny, too. But I thought the match was... He is a great commentator. I'll Jesse Ventura. The match was what it was. This could be very hit or miss. It could go one of two directions. One, I figured when Riley lost, okay, I'm waiting for Ty Dillinger going around the ring, 10, 10, 10. Here comes Riley, clocks him. Oh, boo, officially a heel. But that didn't happen. He just walked up the stage, and that was it. So this could go one of two places. Riley, either he snaps after losing, or Dillinger wins, and that's it, and they don't really care. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the latter, because WWE doesn't really care too much about either one of these guys. I think Dillinger's very, very good. But I would like to see this go somewhere. I think Riley can be a decent asset to NXT. He's not as obviously as talented as a lot of the other guys. Okay, 3/4 of the roster they have there right now. But I think he can be a fine talent for the roster if they can utilize him properly. I don't know what this was supposed to be. I didn't care too much about it. It just depends where it goes. So I'm going to reserve further judgment until we see more.
That's fair. I think Riley needs to go back to what he does best, and I think that is tweet his hopes and dreams at Triple H.
Yeah.
So, I have a lot of faith that he'll be sitting down and writing some rage for everybody to, take a good look at online. So,
well, I think
it's pretty much where he comes in with the hard hit.
That too. I will say this: if there's any, not saving grace, but I think Alex Riley's best attribute. He's a mediocre worker. He's not a really good character if he really has one, other than rage. But he does cut a good promo. I thought the promo that he had a couple weeks ago was really good when he said, Sami Zayn came back and he got all these promos. So did Hideo Itami. People are asking all about him. Well, what about Alex Riley? I thought Corey Graves did a good job of that last night in the commentary, talking about that. No one cares about this guy. That's his gimmick. No one cares about him. That's what I thought was the best part about it. And
he's the Eva Marie of the men's division.
Pretty much. Other than people just not raining boos. People care enough to boo Eva because she's bad.
Eva actually has a little bit of an edge over Riley. So.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. And I think with Riley, his gimmick is that no one cares about him. And Tom Phillips was saying on commentary, I almost died laughing. He was like, yeah, when Sami Zayn came back, he got all these vignettes. When Alex Riley came back, people didn't even know he was in the building eating lunch. And I died of laughter. That was a great line. That was Tom Phillips.
It takes a very Alex Riley kind of guy specifically for me to get over with Ty Dillinger. So, I guess I can thank Alex Riley for making me try to appreciate Ty Dillinger as well. So, I don't really know who comes out on top by winning that match.
No.
But,
yeah.
Hey, he's a perfect 10, so.
They didn't get rid of him. I mean, Triple H must see something in Alex Riley. They didn't get rid of him when they did the whole roster cuts a couple weeks ago. They got rid of Bull Dempsey and what was his name? Marcus Louis, the Deadpool-looking guy, and who was the other person? That's what they should have kept him around to do, a Deadpool gimmick. Sylvester Lafort and some other two schmucks that didn't make it to TV. So they must see something in him. Not like a future champion, but I feel like he can be something. If anything, just keep him around long enough so I can say it to my face by Downstate, one of the best names in NXT. I'll say that right now.
Absolutely. Quick thoughts on Baron Corbin. Still pressing William Regal, general manager of NXT, for some kind of number one contender spot or chance at that spot. And
I think he deserves it. I think he's improved so much since the beginning. Graham used to crap about how he used to squash everyone. And
I did.
I just think now that he's finally got, I think that match with Joe at Brooklyn kind of started his ascent up the ladder in NXT. And I think he's come a long way. And I think that he's kind of getting jumped by the Samoa Joes and Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, they all just jumped right over him, and he now he's at that level that he should get a title shot, or he should be contending with topper tier guys in NXT.
Yeah.
Beat Apollo Crews at NXT London, and he really hasn't done much from that. But
he should probably try winning when he has a shot at those things. That would be a good thing for Baron Corbin to try. Actually coming through in the clutch and maybe strong arming his way like he likes to do towards things. But nope. Can't do it against competitors like Samoa Joe and Sami Zayn, and even those two, as of last night, still coming up so evenly matched. Probably much to General Manager Regal's consternation here. So maybe we just move on from Baron Corbin for a minute because he's on the back burner right now. But there's no love and just micro modicums of respect between Samoa Joe and Sami Zayn. Graham, what do you think? What do you think of last night's match, main event?
Two great competitors, and I love the fact that they promoted this as the first time ever. We talked about this last week, but which boggles my mind. These guys have traveled the world, but I guess when Samoa Joe was in Ring of Honor, Sami Zayn was just coming up, and then by the time they were finally in the same company, Joe left off for TNA, so we never got to see the match until last night. I thought it delivered. It was a really good match. Not giving enough away, but not too much away, to the point where we could still see a rematch at some point to truly find and determine a real number one contender to the NXT Championship. We didn't find it last night. They had a great match, a lot of great time. We had maybe 4 matches last night? 4 or 3? I think it was 3. Because we had the women's match. I think it was 4 matches. Yeah, Asuka. 4 matches, okay. But I was surprised by how much time we had with the main event. They got a lot of great time. They made the most of it. A lot of great back and forth, in-ring, entertaining action. But in the end, like you said, Tommy, I thought very evenly matched. Tick for tat. I mean, these guys were going back and forth. Blue Thunder Bomb, Joe with the with whatever he does, I can't even tell you, but these guys just going back and forth. It was incredible. The finish I thought was great. Not only the double pin, but the final finishing sequence I thought was just incredible. So Samoa Joe going for the muscle buster. Sami Zayn slips out. Joe kind of groggy, hits the haluva kick. Sami Zayn falls on top of Joe. Both shoulders are down. Now this spot, not this exact spot, but the double, both shoulders, all shoulders down on the mat for both guys has been done to death before. But yet somehow they found a way to make it creative. The crowd didn't boo and crap all over it. They were like, oh, Sami Zayn won. No way, Joe won. No, neither guy won. And we still don't have a number one contender. Regal came out. And they didn't show it on the show itself. It was on the exclusive WWE YouTube channel, and Regal said, I'm sorry, both guys, it was a draw. It wasn't a win or a loss, it was a draw. We will determine a number one contender. I will figure this out. So like you said, the real hard times right now are in the court of William Regal. It's his job, it's his challenge right now, more so than anyone else, to find ourselves a real number one contender to the NXT Championship.
Now, is the pressure that Baron Corbin has been putting on Regal, is that going to get to him? And now that the playing field is even once again, do we see another triple threat coming up?
I think
Much
it's
like
possible.
a triple threat we have coming up at Fastlane for the same type of ascension there. So
I think it's possible. I think Corbin has definitely proved himself. That, like you said, RJ, that match with Samoa Joe in Brooklyn,
even
was great.
his loss to Joe and Zayn was definitely shrouded in controversy.
Mm-hmm.
So
He didn't tap out.
You know, just like Macho Man said during the World War III WCW pay-per-view, I live by what it is what it is. That's it.
Shout out to Macho Man, who's standing right behind us, by the way, on our poster. But no, I absolutely agree. I think all three of these guys all have a legitimate claim to the NXT Championship right now. Baron Corbin beat Apollo Crews in a surprisingly really good match in London, and he's still due a title shot. And Regal, he's been pressuring him every single week, and this isn't...
Well, it's no wonder Crews has had to go back to the drawing board a little bit.
Yeah.
He's got to rethink the fact that, you know, these guys, Corbin, Zayn, Joe, as healthy as they are going to get the better of him right now because he needs a new strategy. So... You know, Corbin is making more waves right now than probably Joe or Zayn really realize is going on, and maybe they've already counted him out, and maybe that'll get the better of both their egos. So
he's no Mojo Rawley. Baron Corbin walks in that office twice now. I think it might have been last week or the week before, and then this week again. This guy's intimidating. Probably the most intimidating male figure, other than Asuka, in NXT, much less in the entire WWE right now. When that guy confronts you face to face, you're going to want to give him what he wants. But then again, we're dealing with William Regal here. He's no ordinary authority figure. This guy was one of the toughest Brits in the wrestling business, in the history of the business. This guy is not going to give in to the pressure that Corbin is supplying him with. So whatever happens with Corbin, we're going to have to wait and see. But I think one thing is for sure, Corbin is going to have to make an impact. He's going to have to leave his mark in NXT. If it's not through the NXT Championship picture, he did it when he beat Apollo Crews in London. Who he's going to go after next? It's anyone's guess, but be on the lookout for Corbin. He is not one to underestimate right now, overlook in NXT.
Well, and speaking of impact, tonight on SmackDown, as we get our final thoughts out here, we have Brock Lesnar showing up in the house. I think it's going to be a ruckus to see Brock Lesnar back on SmackDown. I'm curious to see what he has to say, or if Paul Heyman comes out and does all the talking like they are want to do. So what do you think, RJ?
It's great to see the Beast back on SmackDown. I started watching wrestling back in 2002 when Lesnar was prominent on the Blue Brand. So good to see Brock back. And like I said, I don't know how much talking he'll do. Probably get more physical. That's more of his actions. He's more of a I'll beat you up guy more than I'll talk. But I think it'll be great. I think hopefully it'll get everyone very intrigued for a Fastlane, because I think most people kind of like I saw that the pay-per-view, like, they haven't had any attendance for, like, they said the attendance for Fastlane's minuscule right now because, like, they can't sell tickets because no one's really excited for the show. So I think if they can pump off a good ending sequence tonight on SmackDown and, like, have a great show, then people might be more invested in Fastlane. I think, obviously, they're going to try to make it so it looks like probably everyone's on the same playing field. So go in the match and not thinking, oh, this guy's going to win, this guy's going to win. So, but I think it's great to see Brock Lesnar back on SmackDown.
The Beast is back on the Blue Brand. The first time in over a dozen years, according to Mauro Ranallo, and that's an accurate fact. I wake up on Thursdays. I told you this last week, Tommy. 2 things are assured. 1, I got 1 class. 2, SmackDown's on tonight. Can't get better than that. Thursday, officially my favorite day of the week. This show keeps on getting better and better. The only knock or the only Khan for tonight's show. Mauro Ranallo will not be on commentary. He had the flu, unfortunately, so it's going to be kind of disappointing to see. That was my reaction exactly. He won't be calling Brock Lesnar on SmackDown, which is a real shame. But other than that,
Brock's not going to be wrestling on SmackDown.
True.
Let's put that out there right now.
But he'll be getting physical. Hopefully, we'll have to wait and see. But
well, I'm sure the King and Byron can take care of that. Pretty good. They're fantastic at what they do. But
Michael Cole's on the show too, unfortunately. Exactly.
I was looking forward to Thursday.
I'm just gonna watch it on mute. I'll just say that much. Brock's probably not gonna be speaking
I'm gonna
anyway.
mute the TV. I'm gonna do my own commentary.
There you go.
Internet's gonna blow up.
I'm looking forward to it. I think Brock Lesnar back on SmackDown shows that SmackDown stock is going up. I mean, RJ and I already got our tickets to the Beast in Boston. Other than tonight, that's the only other time I believe that he's going to be on SmackDown, March 22nd in Boston, the final real SmackDown before WrestleMania, because the real SmackDown before Mania is always like video packages and crap. So it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to that. But before that, we got tonight. And the best part about this, I'm figuring, he's going to be on Raw, and then he's going to show up on SmackDown. He wasn't on Raw this week. Paul Heyman was on Raw, so he kind of did the talking for him. This is the first time we've seen Brock Lesnar since he got laid out at the hands of Dean Ambrose. After he got hit him in the nards last week on Raw, it's going to be a much angrier Brock Lesnar than usual, and that's saying a lot, because Lesnar, every single time he shows up, he's got not something to prove, he's just got something to say in the form of his actions. So if I was Dean Ambrose, I would have eyes in the back of my head, because I would not want to be Dean Ambrose, much less Roman Reigns. He's got history there too. You would think all three of these guys, three of the biggest baby faces in WWE right now, going in the fast lane, shaking hands, kissing babies, good luck on Sunday between three of the biggest baby faces in WWE at the moment. That's not happening. Brock Lesnar is going to be doing anything but tonight on SmackDown. And for that reason alone, with everything else ensured tonight on SmackDown, with the women and Jericho responding to AJ Styles' challenge for Fastlane, this is what I'm most looking forward to. SmackDown is going to be very interesting, even more so than usual. Again, saying a lot, because SmackDown's been great since they moved to USA Network, but Lesnar on SmackDown will be something to see, to say the least.
Final thoughts, RJ?
I think it's going to be a good show tonight, and I can't wait for Fastlane.
Yeah, can't wait. It'll be interesting to see who can beat the champ coming up at Fastlane. Well, who's going to beat the champ at WrestleMania. We'll see who is going to be in that picture going out of Fastlane. So as we sign off here, we're going to play a little something here from the Mountain Goats' 2015 album, Beat the Champ. This is the legend of Chavo Guerrero. WWEC Radio. We'll see you next Thursday.
Born down in El Paso, where the tumbleweeds blow, to the middleweight champ of all Mexico. Dad fought many bloody battles, and he raised 4 sons. Chavo was the oldest one. Old man Gory could pop like a live grenade. Raised his boys in the way of the trade. Hector and Mondo, young Eddie G. Chavo meant the most to me. Look high, it's my last hope. Chavo Guerrero, coming off the top rope. He came from Texas seeking fortune and fame. Rose pretty quickly to the top of the game. Defender of the downtrodden, king of the hill. Tag team champion with Al Madril. Before a black and white TV in the middle of the night. I'm lying on the floor, I'm bathed in blue light. The telecast's in Spanish, I can understand some, and I need justice in my life. Here it comes, look high, is my last hope. Chavo Guerrero, coming off the top rope. Red shoes Dugan, holding his arm high, all out of breath. I hated all of Chavo's enemies. I would pray nightly for their death. Descending like fire on the people who deserved it most. All was completely unknown outside of Texas and on the West Coast. He was my hero back when I was a kid. You let me down, but Chavo never once did. You called him names to try to get beneath my skin. Now your ashes are scattered on the wind. I heard his son got famous and he went nationwide, coast to coast with his dad by his side. I don't know if that's true, but I've been told it's real sweet to grow old.